You're live? Alright. Let me know when you're ready.
Give me a second. I'm just going to grab a stream link.
Alright.
Post that everywhere else.
Mind shooting me over the link?
I'll shoot you over the link.
Thank you. So I'll send this over to some of the people I know too.
Okay. So, where's... There we go. Chat set up. Bam, bam. Do I have the links up?
Alright, let me just get that. Let me just send over the link to a few people. And
Okay, there's the re-entry link.
Alright,
So
we're starting off with which one?
We're starting off with 8.5 because that's where everything was started off. Well, that's where Bungie started out with.
Alright.
8.5. August 5th of 2021. Usual talk about the community.
Yep. But we open up with the melee actions right here.
Yep. And Eric Smith says basically you can you can remap your charged and uncharged melees to two different buttons, or you can keep it to basically what we have right now, which is at a certain distance you throw a ranged melee, or if you have a charge and it's not a ranged melee, you use the powered melee first.
Right. One of the first questions, I think we talked about this before we went live, is the different types of setups that will be better from this. I've heard Aftercross and a few others mention that when you have the separate melee bind, you'll be able to pop off like a weighted knife or a throwing hammer more. And even
wherever
things like... Yeah, wherever you are, exactly.
Like, if they're right in front of you, and you throw the charged melee button, he will throw a knife, even if you are 2 inches from their head, and they are sniffing your lunch.
Yep, it makes me want to remap my controller, which actually goes into the next whole statement with how mouse and keyboard and controller players are affected very drastically different.
They're very different things, because with keyboard, I can just say, oh, charged melee is B.
Q.
My super is Q, that's why.
Oh man, my melee is Q.
Well, technically my melee is on my mouse. I could technically put my charged melee on a mouse button.
Wow.
And then put the normal melee as an actual button.
And that's the beauty of it, really, is now we have the opportunity to figure out, in this situation, do I want a standard melee or do I want to use this empowered form of it? I'm not really big on like Titan or Warlock. I know some of their capabilities, but since I'm a Hunter main, I can speak for some of the Night Stalkers out there. Imagine going in for some kind of rush, and you get right up onto someone, you throw a smoke, and then you quick draw out into a shoddy, or into some aerial movement. So now since they're smoked, get on over them, you get the kill, generally.
Do you know how many Do you know how many times I wasted my celestial fire on someone 2 inches in front of me?
Yes. It's not a fun experience
Like,
at all.
there's times where it procs a powered melee when I don't want it to, and then there's times where it just activates a normal melee when I want to throw out a big punch.
Hmm.
But here's the thing, as a primarily controller using player, this doesn't help me as much.
No, it doesn't. Especially if you don't have like a scuff or my power A professional controller, if you will, that
Or
has to
an
back paddles.
Xbox Pro controller,
Yeah,
or a PS5 Pro controller. I think that's the one
they
with the.
have those now.
Yeah, they have those now.
Wow.
Like in the TWAB, it literally says, "Oh yeah, you can do right stick click," but I already have that as my finisher.
Yeah,
Um,
it would make some. It'd be problematic. Well, you could remap your finisher to be a long press.
you
And
see, if they said that if they
the
did
the
that,
charge melee couldn't.
yeah.
Yeah. But I know that your finishers can still operate on long press. So if you needed to do something like that, you could.
But my like what I wanted was the hold, and I'll throw out a very big punch, tap,
Right.
and I'll throw out my usual slap.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently that's not possible at the moment.
Which is fine. I think right now just having it on the board as a usage is a very nice quality of life fix. That's usable across the board.
Now let me bring this one specific subclass up.
Uh-huh.
I don't even use this thing, but I know that with this change, a certain Italian friend of mine is very happy.
Oh
Because
no.
Middle Tree Sunbreaker
Yep.
now can infinitely throw their hammers without having to worry about, am I too close? No.
To throw the hammer, no.
No. You're not too close. In fact, that you'll throw that one-shot hammer into that person's skull so hard that their head is now on the pillar behind them.
Isn't that the beauty of life right there? Another actually subclass that might be of interest is even Behemoth with the new changes to their movement speed when they're using their melee. So now if they're like right on someone, they want to pop it, they could literally, as they're skating, they get onto someone, proc it, without having to really worry about it. It's pretty cool, because every time we've seen a Behemoth Timon use their melee, they could do some really wonky stuff with the physics, if like forcing people into a wall and causing them to take damage from not only the melee but the physical colliding damage.
Don't say that we can physics people more.
But physics is fun. That's all I'm gonna say. I think, and I think
just got out of Behemoth literally slamming people into walls.
It's gonna be beautiful. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not a Behemoth main. I've only used Behemoth 3-ish times, maybe 4-ish times if I'm really being particular here. But Behemoth is a very fun Titan class.
Wouldn't I know the text is off center? It's meant to be like that.
Oh man. Imagine having your text off-centered.
No, it's the chat. Because if I make it on center, it just looks funky.
Alright.
Like I've done both off center and on center. If I stretch it out to fully on center, it'll look funky. If I keep it at its current dimensions, it looks fine. If I put it on center in its current dimensions, you just have this thing that looks just bad.
Right.
and show you. Like, bam.
Mm-hmm.
But oh well.
I mean, it looks fine.
Once you get like a certain number of chats, it's nah.
It'll be good. For now, it's good. We'll worry more about the future streaming setup later.
Yeah, this
For now,
is ultra scuffed, but we're done.
old scuffed. We're just scuffing it right now. For long-term ability plans, so now that we kind of have the melee under wraps, what is the overall census with the current sandbox, with the ability spam, as people will call it, and the overabundance of, I will say it myself, one-shot abilities?
So we were talking about this while we were prepping, and
Yeah.
I would like to restate. I'm an
Mm-hmm.
old MMO player.
Right.
You're a League of Legends player.
Yeah, I was.
Well, you were. So we both know what ability spam is like.
Oh yeah.
I am coming from that background. I have been a hard proponent of stasis.
Mm-hmm.
I have been a hard proponent of ability usage and ability skill. I think that largely the gun first attitude is kind of archaic. But
Especially with D2 vanilla being such a wash.
yeah, like, I'm not gonna blame the devs or anything. There's been too many in and out through the revolving door of crunch,
Right.
COVID, all other types of BS to
Mm-hmm.
blame them on the current mess that is now the Crucible.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say, we as a player base are definitely part of the issue. Because back in D2 Year 1, we had a primary focused, gunplay based, completely accuracy focused game.
Right.
And everybody hated it.
It was slow.
It was slow, the TTK was way too high, and no one could even stomach watching it. The Twitch numbers were at the lowest you've ever seen, there were no mixer numbers, and YouTube streaming was a joke. So,
Well, D2 was also a joke at the time.
well, D2 was also a joke, but like, there's a whole thing, like, when the changes that you are requesting led to one of the worst eras of Destiny PvP to date, you need to rethink your suggestions.
Right.
Now, am I saying Roaring Flames ×3 hammer that's infinitely spammable at any range now is perfectly balanced as all things should be?
Yes.
No!
I don't know what you're talking about, man. If I want to chuck a hammer that's gonna one-shot someone, I'm gonna do it.
But
They allowed 120s to be a thing. They can allow me to enjoy Roaring Flames ×3 with my hammers. Just once.
They did already. It's now
This is
just
true.
easier. But anyway, we need to think about what type of game do we want to play. Because I've played MMOs, I played a rogue with very fast cooldowns and DOT and hard CC as my playstyle. I stun locked my enemies until they died. Now, most people hate being on the receiving end of that. Because guess what?
They can't do
Getting
anything.
hard CC'd and getting trapped like that is kind of annoying.
Well, the thing is, like in other games, and I know you probably haven't played League. There's ways around it. Like there was,
Oh yeah, you
let's
can. There's spacing. There's breakout.
I
There's
the
resistances. There's
yeah.
like you can play around how it's easy.
Even in Destiny, they have mechanics based around defending yourself against aces.
I mean, now
And
they do.
well,
After
yeah.
they nerfed it 3 times, so
Well, I'm referring
the
mostly to
fire
the
boots are useless now thanks to the current stasis reworks. They're basically just, oh yeah, you get a free kill clip if someone tries to freeze you.
yeah. Another unfortunate thing is that the fire boots were a really good implementation for their time, but now it's like, what's the point of using them if no
Other
one's
than a
really?
free kill clip.
Yeah, they don't do much anymore.
Yeah.
And there was a point in Stasis where I was okay with it. Like it was still strong, but I was okay with the fact that if they kept it there and they focused on the light subclasses, it would have been in a very particular state that
You
would
would
make
have
both
had
sides feel
people
powerful.
complaining a lot about, oh, it's an ability spam meta now. But here's the thing, we have Wither Horde in the game, we have Fusions in the game,
We have
even
Traveler's Chosen.
we have Traveler's Chosen. Like I'm not going with ability spam builds. I'm going with guns that if you shoot enough, the person will die.
See, another thing is, we talk about ability spam, but if people really wanted to focus in on ability spam, you have Frosty's Traveler's Chosen, that little pairing. Traveler's Chosen in general
Well,
is such an
like you don't see Frosty's Traveler's Chosen all the time.
no,
Like
you don't. It's such a rarity. Like I thought
like
about maining it.
that's why people like don't really get this could be a lot worse, and also the fact that almost every hunter is using Stompies or Mask of Bacchus instead of going full hard in the paint on their weighted throwing knives and things tells you that guns can hold up.
Well,
It's
yeah, and I think you mentioned Stompies and Backers, and those are I know I'm not trying to get off track here. Those are very heavy movement based exotics.
oh yeah,
Um,
the movement is the meta. Like I said this before when we were prepping again. If you are a Titan with a middle tree uh, striker, Thunder Crash,
yep, Thunder Crash.
whatever you want to call it, you put on Lion Rampant.
Right.
If you're on PC, you put your jump as your scroll wheel. You turn on Catapult Lift. Once you get a charged melee and the super, you use your charged melee in the highest point you can, and then right before you hit the ground, you use your super, and that launches you at Mach 12 at whatever poor sod you're aiming at.
Yeah, it's a very I'm pretty sure you could combine Syntheseps with just the regular missile crash, not the super one, but the standard one. That's pretty devastating as is. Um,
That was a rather loud alert, but that's a good subscribe. But yeah, there's a lot of things.
hmm
But like the new update, I think this is an 8.5, is charged mainly, long term ability. Yeah, stasis
Yeah, no,
phase.
stasis is yeah.
Initiate breakout whirl airborne.
Perfect. Right on target. What we're talking about with stasis.
Yeah, it's like imagine if you're a stasis warlock.
Right.
And I'm gonna pick on your class right now, Pidge.
Yeah,
Some
no, go for it,
asshole with Stompies triple jumps right in front of your head with an aggressive frame shotgun with all the fucking perks.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You
Like full
freeze
trigger,
his
right?
ass. He breaks out while he's coming down and still shoots you.
Yeah, I can imagine that being frustrating. But there's ways to build around that, though.
Well, yes, there's ways to build around that, but they have gone from the point where 5-second freeze times and everything kills you in a frozen state because of the shatter mechanic, now to don't even bother trying to freeze certain people because they'll just kill you anyway.
Right. Although there's something we'll talk more about this with like the slide changes coming up because I do have a few suggestions for the changes. Um, there and actually I'll talk more about the stasis and slide stuff in its totality in a second. But the big thing with the stasis freeze is if a revenant hunter or a penumbrum warlock, not penumbrum, shadebinder
Shadebinder.
warlock freezes me midair, I now have the opportunity to get out of that situation. Um, Great for me, bad for the warlock. Makes them feel even more useless than they already are. No offense, but it's one of those opportunities where it's not a death sentence to get frozen, but it's a super. So if you get caught by the super, you should technically die.
Yeah.
Um, with standard warlock freeze or even hunter freeze, any kind of freeze, it's not a death sentence right now. I mean, technically it is if you have like a shadow dive hunter or a whisper of rhyme titan. Warlocks, I am so sorry. There's nothing left.
Yeah, there's nothing left for us.
Warlocks really got the bad end of the stick here, and we'll definitely cover more about what happened with the Warlocks because I was reading it over today, and geez, you guys really got shafted. But I get
Top Tree Dawn is gone.
no, I don't think it's gone. I think the
It's
playstyle
not gone, it's just that you have to equip sun bracers now.
yes, that's one way you could look at it. Another thing that we were looking at, and as you know, I used to do scrims. I still talk to people I used to do scrims with. It's no longer about the dash; it's about using the alternative angles and getting picks.
Yeah, it's about heat rises and floating like a asshole.
Yeah, which is a very high risk, high reward playstyle. Even in higher tiers of play, it's still
Yeah, but you
really
can still go Mach 7 with Middle Tree Voidwalker and Astrocyte. And with the buffs to Voidwalker now,
oh yeah,
do you
that'll be
really
fun.
think that people will go, oh, I'm a floofy warlock in the air? Or
No.
will they go, oh yeah, I'm gonna go Mach 7 with my shotgun?
Well, even with there's another subclass that got a sprint bonus with Pulse Wave, the
Oh yeah,
sprint
I'm
bonus.
gonna talk about that in a little bit. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, it's not exactly a thing. So, we got off topic, but yeah, stasis freeze midair. It's good for the people getting frozen. It's absolutely horrible for the people freezing.
I think there's ways to combat. Let's say, let's go back to your example with the shotgun rusher. Um, when that particular shotgun rusher gets frozen, you can still put on something that like there was a fragment that lets your kinetic damage do more damage,
Yeah,
or
but
you
it's
have your
not
special
that
weapon.
much.
Well, with last word, I think it brought it from like
it's a, it's still
48 to 59.
yeah, it's still a 4-shot kill though.
Well, yeah, last word's always been well, yeah, but it's always been roughly a 4-shot kill. No, three shot.
Well, 3 shots to the head, but
Yeah, but 4 shots if you didn't miss one.
it's still a 4-shot or a 3-shot kill. That's the thing. Like, there's only a few things that the kinetic fragment does buff in lowering the TTK, and I hate the fact that it's like, oh yeah, with certain guns this is decent, or I could put on Whisper of Shards and, I don't know, get really good Glacier Nade kills.
Right. And
um,
there, and now I guess this would be a kind of a half decent time to mention the slide changes because this is where things that we just mentioned.
Actually, yeah, with midair it does have some disabilities already, but
Yeah,
Icarus grip, no one's taking that
so
off of those.
surprisingly, Acre Script does have drawbacks though.
Yeah, it does.
That get overlooked. Everyone uses Acre Script because mobile while moving, But the thing is, when it comes to being in air all the time, A, you're not really taking advantage of cover. Sure, you're taking advantage of vertical space, but your cover's lost. Unless you're a professional peak shooter, jokingly. Um, but if you, like, on controller, I say this from experience, I have more success using targeting adjuster for jump sniping or some form of aggressive sniping than I do with Icarus.
I'm gonna
Uh,
disagree with you there.
okay.
With the with a certain with certain snipers, I agree, but with the snipers that I primarily main, being Adored and Frozen Orbit, I feel
Mhm.
that Icarus Grip definitely does improve more so than Targeting
Targeting adjuster.
Adjuster.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming like you play on both, right? You play on both inputs.
No, I primarily use my controller.
Oh, sweet. All right, so you and me both.
Yeah, so
All right.
um,
Did you ever get my memo on the cone angle for snipers, by the way?
aren't they extremely weird?
They're extremely narrow.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how narrow they are. But
Yeah, I talked about it with Warden the other day, and we'll just
like,
kind
if you
of
look at hip fire, it doesn't look that narrow.
no, it's not. And what's interesting is like there when you get hip fire grip and kill clip on a frozen orbit, for example, it's extending the width of that cone angle. So if you get one kill, then you proc kill clip, and then you start hip firing, you'll hit more 9 out of 10 shots.
Yeah.
Not the point. I mean, I just thought that was kind of interesting to bring up on the side. Going into those slide nerfs, with the 20 minus 20 stability, 15% shotgun pellet spread, and the 1.5 flinch, I
So
do believe.
so before 819, I thought this would kill fusion rifles.
Oh
After
yeah,
819, I am thinking, holy shit, high impacts can't slide. But having but the high, fast firing ones, they're fine.
yeah. Well, here's the thing, and also referring back to the next TWAB we'll look at. They said that stability doesn't really matter on high impact fusions anymore. So when we have minus 20 stability, and this is keep in mind, how stability works is dependent on the archetype. So just because if I have like a 140 hand cannon with like 80 stability and I have like a 120 with 60, how 60 stability looks on one gun is different than how 60 will look on the other because they're not comparable. You can't compare. I mean, yes, they're both hand cannons, but they have different ways of assessing
They have
stability.
different scalars, different
Right.
multipliers, stuff like that. But like, if it was just a minus 20 stability and 1.5x flinch, I would have been laughing at Bunchy going like, what do you think this will do for slide shotguns? And then plus 15% shotgun pellet spread. Like, I know Fellwinter's already has shot package, but I think that overturns it by a
Yeah, but also
decent
slide
amount.
shot. It also has slide shot though,
Hmm.
so it could potentially cancel it out. But keep in mind, Stompies. Well, this is actually indirectly hurt Stompies because it extends the slide duration. So why extend that slide duration with a shotgun and you know hurt your shotgun even more so? And then you can just get out the animation as fast as you can.
This also hurts transverses because it does the same thing.
Yeah. Now the thing is, if they have a shotgun as slide shot, it's whatever. Like you can forget about the slide changes other than flinch. Which wait a minute, if you put on some unflinching mods, like these changes aren't at the end of the world. I see a bunch of quote unquote high end players complain about these changes and
I see a
the
bunch
minus.
of scrimmers that forcibly make their meta hand cannon shotgun complain a lot about a lot of things, but
Oh yeah.
they can't exactly say anything when only one sniper's allowed and almost every single exotic's off the table.
See, and that's all, we can save that for another conversation. And I do agree. There's a lot of things that certain event holders do that don't make sense if you look at the larger scale of the sandbox.
Like,
Um,
the more I look at quote unquote competitive PvP, the more I see a bunch of, like, what the hell? Why is this here?
Yeah,
You're
like
just trying
competitive
to make it D2 year one, but have
worse.
yeah.
Yeah, what really makes it now, I'll call it a veer off for half a second. What makes competitive D2, uh, quote unquote competitive isn't the restriction, it's the free flowing way of making your own distinct character
Yeah.
through, because like, and you've seen me fluctuate through builds by the day. Like, there's not a single day where I'm not making something new and testing it and refining it and throwing it away and making it, just constantly going through that process.
Like the build making potential of Destiny makes this much more of a how do we balance an MMO PvP versus how do we balance an FPS PvP? Because
Right.
no FPS has over 100, like 1.2 million builds, I think.
Roundabout.
Like, there's a lot of builds.
You could literally do, and I'm not sure this is possible, but you could do Grave Robber with Swashbuckler on a gun with some other, like a melee based exotic.
Yeah,
That'd be wicked. Like, you could go, or there's the Demolitionist, there is now Adrenaline. If they have made it so you could have Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie on the same gun, or have like Eye of the Storm and Underdog on the same gun. Because there's a lot of things you can play around with, like low health variables or um, grenade, intellect. Like even with Thresh, that's huge. And
yeah,
unfortunately,
1% more super each time you get a kill, which is like,
well, actually, I did some research with Waffle on
wait,
that.
it's 1.5, I think.
Yeah, it's 1.5, but if it's a special weapon, it's 2%,
Yeah, it's
and that's
really
people.
good, and it's like what, like people sleep on Thresh so much.
I have an entire, like, if I'm running Gunslinger, I'm running Thresh. If I'm running Stasis, I'm running Thresh. If I'm running something for super, like, I generally make my builds on Super Shutdown, which, as you know, Night Stalker, Gunslinger, and sometimes I'll run Middle Tree Arc. Um,
I mainly focus on neutral game, so
and yeah, that'd be like Demolitionist, Adrenaline Junkie, things of that nature.
yeah.
But going back to the topic of sliding, these changes aren't bad. This literally just says, hey, listen,
You have to think now
think.
when you slide.
And, there's ways around this, by the way. Like, if you look at Whisper of Hedrons,
Oh yeah, there's 101 different ways of getting around this. Like shotgun dexterity, shotgun targeting, shotgun unflinching, uh, various things
and
revolving around slide shot and other things. It's
there's one thing I want to point out, though. And I'm going to reference one of the Titans Behemoth changes that's actually coming up shortly. So, and I'm going to reference this briefly, just so we kind of make this clear. Cryoplasm. Base slide now shatters crystals and frozen enemies. Now, imagine you throw a, what's it called?
don't
Cold
give
Snap.
them don't give them ideas. Don't give them ideas. I was gonna say, don't tell them to throw glacial grenade right in front of them and then slide.
Oh, I'm not gonna say glacial because glacier nades are cool, but you're not really going after the effects of the
No,
slide.
if you go with whisper shards.
Oh, true, 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 true.
Yeah.
But I was mentioning cold snap because you can still do shards because
Oh
even if
yeah,
there's
if you do shards when you cold snaps, you just freeze the person
yeah,
and they
you freeze
instantly
them, but
die.
you also get more stability, so it counteracts the stability right there. The 15% pellet spread gets kind of null and void, quote unquote, because you get better accuracy through hedrons. And
Yeah.
then the flinch, who cares? It's a shotgun. It's gonna land anyways through the accuracy. And also if you're using an aggressive for sure. So you
Or
could literally
if you
throw it.
have a certain shotgun of mine that has hip fire grip.
Oh yeah, and then you throw in a freehand grip, then it won't even matter.
Yeah.
But like if you throw it down, you freeze them, you slide to the first target, you can flick on the next target and get them. That's how stupid this is.
Like the slide nerf isn't gonna do much. It's gonna do a decent amount for the lower skill people that are like, hey, I slide everywhere.
Don't
But
at me like that.
I
That's
mean
not
the
that's not
people
appropriate.
I mean the people that literally just go.
Oh, okay, okay. Because I mean, as you know, I slide a lot.
I mean I do too, but I'm just talking about people that literally just never stop
Like
sliding.
WQ warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Rally barricade.
Yes, that's a big one.
So you know that slide nerf we've been talking about? Oh yeah, just hold B a little bit more.
Yeah, this is what I see a lot on YouTube and from my peers. Like they're just promoting a standstill meta. It's like no.
No,
It's
you
funny, but
cryoclasm into an area. You pop your little mini barricade, and now you just have 10% more range.
yeah, you're gonna. This is one of those things where people
Like
over.
rally barricade is the aggressive barricade.
Yeah,
Towering barricade is
it's
the
the passive.
defensive.
It's kind of like the equivalent of like having let's think here, like an empowering rift versus a healing rift.
Yeah.
It's what I like about the rally change is that it opens up for other weapons now.
Like
Because that's what this change basically says. You can run something like Polaris Lance now, Might on multi-tool, um, jokingly symmetry, and the reason why I say this
not
is,
jokingly symmetry.
well, here's the thing: the rally barricade doesn't just have to be for the Titan. It can be for the Warlock. It can be for the Hunter. I feel like the Warlock benefits the most because now let's think if they remember that old
Oh
no time to explain build. You have the no times with with not the Aeons,
no,
the
you
Gale
have the
Artists.
stag. No
Hmm.
time to explain. Urxels. Titan Props
Oh.
Rally. You drop an Empowering Rift. You get DR. You get minus 50 flinch. You get both Urxels and No Time Buddy. You are
Oh man.
literally a turret.
Well, also if you get more time with Titan's ramparts.
Don't give them ideas.
So not only will you not get hit, but you'll have the bonus range twofold and little flinch.
Like,
That's
even
the
if they
that's
get
the
through
standstill right
the
there.
Titan's barrier, you still have a 25% damage reduction.
And you can even my whole spiel here is that the people are like, and this goes back to like the third person. This goes beyond like the third person peeking here. You want to counter third person peeking. This isn't about an individual build now. It's about making a team composition. And I feel like with the
Also,
changes that they're making,
also,
it's geared towards that.
I just realized, does the stag pair up with Whisper of Rhyme?
What is stag? Remind me what the stag does. I don't remember what
The
stag
new
does.
buff gives you, when you pop a rift, you get a 25% damage resistance.
Oh man, if you
If
well
it
it'll just
stacks
be
with
25.
Rhyme, is it additive or multiplicative?
That's disgusting. I didn't mean to have that in my head. I guess that's kind of like putting in the whole joke with like bombardiers with the new stasis bomb and the Duskfield, not slow dodge. Oh wait,
And
one
then
second.
the double
Wait, one second, one
shuriken.
second. I'm getting a phone call. I'm getting a phone call. 1 minute. You can go on
Alright.
without me for a minute.
Okay. So the now I'm just thinking about damage resistance on warlocks with stasis, and I feel sickened. Um, any input of the chat variety? Nothing. Well, uh, so we covered around the barricades. We covered stasis freezes. We I'm not going to continue on to slide changes until we got anything. Anything for all barricades. I'll talk about that when Pidge gets back. Basically, if you're moving at Mach 7, you will get hurt, which is good on you, Bungie. But it doesn't exactly help in the way that you think it does. Because Stompies Hunters have this wonderful thing known as the Y-axis. Doesn't matter how tall you make that barricade. Unless it reaches the skybox, the hunter will jump over it. The little bit of underground barricade, I mean, it just seems like a quality of life thing. Grenade launchers no longer slide under the barricade. Grenades no longer slide under the barricade. Acolyte fireballs no longer slide under the barricade. Literally any Vex grenade no longer teleports through the barricade, landing at your feet and blowing you up, ruining your Lost Sector run. Oh shit, copyright. But anyway, I'll start talking with him again once he comes back. Oh, let me check what else is happening. Leaks. Until we get through these TWABs, I'm not gonna start talking about them. There's some wild stuff in here.
Alright, I am back.
So, once we get into the leaks, I got a question for you. Because
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at one thing. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to talk about it right now. We're going to get to the TWABs first before we start
Yeah.
discussing spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on all barricades now. I talked a bit about it when you were on the phone, but I basically said, yeah, it's a good quality of life improvement. Yay, people moving at Mach 7 get actually damaged. Bungie doesn't know that Stompies exist, and if people actually want to do anything, no matter how high that barricade goes, if it doesn't hit the skybox, that hunter's gonna jump over it.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
Probably not. I mean, all I see this as is a potential nerf to GLs, like the wave
Oh
frame
yeah, I
GLs.
also said that the little underground bit is good for uh, acolyte grenades and random vex grenades teleporting under your barricade and ruining your solo lost sector run every
Mm-hmm.
single time.
Coming from personal experience, I see.
Yeah, so good quality of life improvement. Too bad hunters will completely neutralize it.
Well, I don't think they will. I think
I mean, yeah,
that
if
when
they're
they
just pressing
change
W, they're not gonna.
you
Uh,
and think about it, Stompy's next season. I know there will be
You know,
individuals who
people
still use.
will never take off. Like, some people will never take off stompies.
Well, in the people that don't, they're missing out
Fair enough.
because, like, yes, you have movement,
But
but I
there's
can.
bombardiers,
There's actually Gemini Jesters. I took that
there's
solo
Radiant
recently.
Flux,
Yeah, Rate
there's
of Flux for PvE, yes. There's Raiju's Harness. There is Lucky Pants, which
there's
we'll
young
touch on that later.
Ahamkara's Spine.
Huge one.
If you wanna throw a really beefy grenade that kills
Oh,
people.
well, you can actually make a charged light build with some of these sets too that are just absolutely remarkable.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are just like, I just want my movement. It's like, but there's so much more. Like most of the people like I do trials with don't use Stompies.
I don't use stompies.
Yeah,
I don't even have a good roll on stompies. Well,
yeah.
I
Like,
did, but I didn't keep it.
well, what's funny, Bungie knows, and the Bungie said this a long time ago in another TWAB, where they said they purposely made Aeon's stats so high so they'd have some value. Why don't they do that for other exotics? Like and this is just my own personal rant for a
Starfile
second.
Protocol.
Yeah, or even like sealed Alamkara's
Like,
Wrath.
Starfire Protocol is all about fusion grenades. Give me a guaranteed 30 discipline.
At least 20.
I say 30.
That'd be, there's something they could honestly cater, and I believe they could do this. If they have data on what the player uses the most, have drop rates that play around someone's playstyle.
That would be a
And
bit too information farmy for my feels. I'm a very privacy minded person.
well, they already have all of it. They have
Well,
like your
yes, they
cleric.
have the data, but they don't have it personalized.
Okay, that's true. I mean, it's not like they're gonna be well, because of my way of how they'd implement it is this
Well,
character does a lot of sniping,
well,
but
here's the
personally like the
thing.
sniping.
If they have that data, you know they're gonna try to monetize on that shit.
That's true.
So, I'd rather they didn't.
And make it all RNG.
Yeah.
But moving on to
The
um, you,
monster in the closet that is the behemoth.
I'm excited. I'm sorry. This was the changes to this honestly made me want to
Uh,
switch to Behemoth.
Behemoth is going back to moving at Mach 10.
Well, not Mach 10, maybe Mach 5.
Mach 9.
The 25% increase doesn't seem too fat.
They only
No.
they brought it up.
Yeah, it'll be good.
No,
It'll be a
it was a nerf of 15%.
Oh.
This is why I say.
So wait. Back in the stasis nerf club, they nerfed it 15%.
I'm pretty sure it was 15.
Huh? Let me go take a look at that before we
Before
move
we
on.
start posting disinformation.
Exactly. We don't want to do that. We don't do that here.
Nah.
The one about stasis. Let's go find that one. It was before Splicer, I believe.
Yeah, it was before Splicer. All the stasis nerfs except this one, I think, were before Splicer.
Weapons, perks, nerfs, frenzy, reserve buffs, it's exotics, bug fixes. That was before that one. Okay. Where is the stasis changes?
Behemoth.
It was had to be one about pinnacles. The one about stasis. Here it is. Free roam, weapons, stasis slow, rhyme, cold snaps. They didn't tell you how big the big nerf was, but it reduced the Silver Strike, reduced flight and speed and distance. They didn't tell you by how much. Player knockback versus players, and removed the slow detonation on player impact. So they don't tell you the number. I'm assuming it's nowhere near where it was. So even if it's a 25% bonus, it should be okay.
We shall see.
But on that note, with the Revenant, they reduced projectile speed by 10%. Now they're increasing it by 10%.
I wonder why.
Well, no, I'm sorry, they're increasing the tracking. Is it tracking or the hold on, wrong problem.
Hunter, Revenant. Projectile speed and tracking by 10%, yeah.
Okay. So they're just reverting that change, which isn't a big deal in my opinion. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
They
not
fixed the
too
bug on Behemoth where Rhyme was not scaling precision damage correctly. That's just a bug.
right.
We talked about the Cryoclasm nerf. Don't give them any more ideas.
Fine. Whisper Rhyme, good change. I mean, there's nothing really there.
It's just, it's a bug.
Mhm.
We talked about throwing hammers.
Mhm.
It also got a 50% buff in PvE.
Right.
If 1-2 punch was still a perk.
Yeah, being interesting.
Yeah.
I thought 1-2 punch was still a perk.
It doesn't roll on much of anything.
They're phasing it out for Swash.
I'm not sure. They got rid of firing line altogether and then brought it back.
Yeah, but they have it on their format.
Yeah, so I think it might be the same thing. This top and bottom tree striker. And this is a decent buff, but
Middle tree Sunbreaker, we already talked about this one really.
yeah.
Yeah, top and bottom tree striker. This is an interesting one. Increased slam detonation radius by 14%. Pretty big.
And maybe? How many meters is that? That's the thing.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's currently standing to be 8 to 9 meters.
So it might be like 10.
10. Roughly 10 to 11.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's just do some funky numbers.
It's,
yeah, about 10 meters.
It's gonna outrange a shotgun blast now. Which is great and all, but, it doesn't combat the other things that, I don't know, being a melee-based super has. Military Striker, this has to do with the infinite primary ammo the buff isn't really a buff. It's just we have to make this viable in a realm where there is no more primary ammo bricks.
Mm-hmm.
Top trees.
And top tree, yeah, we're on top tree channel. This is interesting. The scalar for the
It doesn't really do much.
Well,
as a Titan, you should be building into resilience.
well, in PvE, yes. In PvP.
In PvP as well.
See, this is the funny thing. I hear a lot of Titans. They don't run a lot of resilience.
I run at minimum 7 resilience, no matter where I am, because at 7 resilience, I tank so much shit that would kill me otherwise.
Yeah, I actually used to run, even on Hunter, I ran a 7 mobility, a 9 recovery, a 9 resilience setup with like
How
7.
in the hell?
Don't ask.
How in the hell did you get those stats so high? Did you literally forfeit all your ability stats?
Oh yeah, I forfeited them. I know I forfeited all my weapon mods. Okay. I forfeited my soul for that, and I use stasis.
Okay, that makes sense.
It was great for invading.
I bet. We covered the Withering Blade, Squall.
Wait, actually, there's one thing I want to cover here, though. Because we just talked about resilience factors on different characters. I don't think people understand how important resilience is in Destiny 2. I see a lot of people on other servers showing me their wonderful mobility, recovery, and intellect, but what about the resil? Like, I see people rocking like 2 to 3, at most maybe 4 resil, like, you're missing out. And, they make these mistakes in their game plans. Like, you could have lived if you had, like, 5 to 6 resil. I can tell you how many times, resil has saved my life.
You don't notice it. You don't notice it all the time, but it saves your ass more than you think.
Especially with how shotgun damage fall off is. Auto rifle. Back in the auto rifle meta, it was a lot more important, because if you had the damage fall
back
off,
in the 120 meta, they would
even more important, yeah.
They had to hit 2 head 1 body on a 10 resil person when they could just do 1 head 2 body on most
others,
people.
Yeah. Resilience, I think, is the unsung hero of a lot of things in metas. Where, yes, recovery is great, but I honestly can't tell you the difference between 9 to 10 recovery, but I can tell you the difference between 7 to 8. And that comes with, like, understanding the different
diminishing return values and stuff like that.
But with specifically Ward of Dawn, this also affects Middle Tree, not Sunsinger, Dawnblade.
Well,
resilience will matter.
Yeah.
Maybe not to the same extent as I think, but it says right here, increased damage from taking boss 7 times at 0 resilience. But it'd be back down to 0.25 at the maximum resilience level. That's huge. I honestly would say, if you're running build for Ward of Dawn, you want to have at least 8 resilience or higher. Anything below that, you're gonna hurt your team. Moving on to the Hunter changes.
Squall's useful now.
Squall's useful now. Yeah, Squall is useful, especially with Star Eaters.
Yeah, Squall is useful now.
But this is a problem for PvP. A minor problem.
I mean, now it's more of completely avoid the area, more so than it was.
It's great for, and this is what Stasis was designed for, area control.
Yeah.
But it's also really good for denying mobile supers. Because keep in mind, this isn't.
They're trying to balance melee supers, and then they just give Silence and Squall this.
Well, here's the reason why, though. Because in Arcstrider you have mobility. There's a mobility buff in the Nova Warp super now. You have Dawn Blades. This is huge, right? I know, like, there's a Dawn Blade user I know.
But Titan, other than Middle Tree Striker.
Oh yeah,
is dead.
Well, generally, what I like to do is I like to get the first one off, like directly on a target, and then I leave the second one as like a slow field across the map to get them slowed down, so my teammates can get pick shots, pot shots, and yeah, going back to like the Withering Blade comment I've made, increase projectile speed and tracking by 10%. Cool. They just undid the nerf. Um, will I see in a potential future that silence will be meta? Probably not, unless they change how a strike mechanic works, or maybe even in this upcoming sandbox
I
with like the first
mean,
nightfall.
Season of Lost, it's not going to be meta.
Yeah, I don't think
Once we
so.
get into the leaks, I am going to tell you why I'm so confident that Stasis will not be meta.
Oh,
Um,
it won't be meta for a while.
it won't be meta for a very long while. Um,
For PvP, it'll always be good, but for PvE, not so much.
yeah.
And that's fine,
Although
honestly.
for PVE, Shadebinder is always gonna be good hard CC,
Hmm.
especially with the little stasis turret. But like once we get into the leaks and shit, yeah, there's a few very good reasons why stasis will no longer be like uber meta in PvP.
Hmm. I guess I'll move on to the middle tree gunslinger unless you have something else to say about Revenant.
No, and middle tree is basically just a hey, we gave you an extra second of burning.
Right, but I want you to think about this. In the grand scheme of things, that 1 second
That's an
feeds
extra
into your
dodge and shit like
right.
that. Yeah,
But don't you have incins, your fan blades,
yeah,
and then you have your bombardiers. But then I want you to throw on dynamo,
yeah.
and then I want you to throw on like Yoin or Prometheus lens or um
Prometheus lens is the better one because
one.
it stacks things. Or Lay Monarch. Lay Monarch would be the best one because it has infinite ammo and has
Wait, Lemon Arc counts as a burn now,
yeah,
or is counted as a burn?
yeah. It's always counted as a burn.
Wow. Then just throw on dynamo and you'll have your super, and then throw my whole
You
ideal
get
setup is just,
knives, arrows, and whatever the hell you want.
yeah, you can have your super up pretty fast because dynamo gives you 5% of your super back.
You have knives, arrows, and
Not
bombs.
5%, I think 2%. No, it's 2.5%. My apologies. Because I used to use a build where called with hands on, with Liar's Handshake, or just go boom and just kind of go circulate through people with Ace of Spades and first and last out with the Liars. Um,
So we so we've covered middle tree, top
yep,
tree.
top tree.
It's just a 5 meter range buff.
It's nothing crazy, but it's a nice small quality of life fix. Will
Yeah,
I be using top tree gunslinger anytime soon?
probably not.
Probably not. Like top tree gunslinger is great for quick play.
If you're a
Um,
god at the flick shoot and you're not using aimbot Bakken, you will actually be able to get insane sevens columns.
well, yeah, and even in like compo trials, it's really
But
good to have.
there's also this thing known as a bottom tree.
Well, I see a lot of people using top tree for utility and bottom tree for super, and I'm okay with that.
um,
I'm more of a bottom tree because my
but
entire build setup revolves around, you know, you procking what's it called? Practice makes perfect, where, let's say if I have Devil's Ruin and I land all crits, I get that baby fully stacked.
um, Arc Strider.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say Raiden Flux on a Deadly Reach. That's
Mm-hmm.
top tree. Yeah, that's top tree. On
Yep.
top tree, Arc Strider, Deadly Reach,
This seems more
Raiden
of a
Flux. We are back in the Warmind meta of smack a boss with your dancing pole
mm-hmm.
and watch it die.
Well, you see, another thing I'm noticing here, especially if you look at something like Deadly Reach or Lightning Wave, and as you know, like I'm not a big PvE guy. I'll throw my 2 cents of it and shrug my shoulders and be like, all right, whatever. But in a PvP sense, if you look at um, Arc Shred, Top Tree Arc, and Middle Tree Arc for like Lightning Weave and Deadly Reach, that's huge. It's huge in a very different way. So let's say you have Deadly Reach and you have Liars, and you have Swashbuckler. So you get a melee kill, you get your dodge back, and keep doing that feedback loop. I know with the upcoming fusion changes, these may be null and void. But I'm looking at this from, every time you get a kill with Fires or in Deadly Reach, you get your health back.
I mean,
So now,
if you have biting winds, the swashbuckler bow.
oh yeah, it gets even better.
Yeah. But yeah, the lightning weave's better now. Tempest strike's a little bit better now.
Well, Lightning Weave and Tempest Strike favor, in my eyes, a very aggressive playstyle. You run in there, you get your thing off, like your uppercut off, and then now you go ham,
For me,
and you
it's
kind of
more
just
of
paint code.
middle of the pack. You
Mm.
basically push forward to the choke point that you want, and then when someone's an idiot enough to get through to pass through the threshold, bam, punch. You
Yeah.
basically just do a little sprint, a little slide, uppercut, and then now that you're in there, you just punch down.
See, another thing that I would be cool because I used to run middle tree with Anonymous Autumn with Trick Sleeves. As you can tell, this sidearm gig goes way back when. And there was this one play I made where I ran in and I slid, popped up Tempest Strike, and now since both I'm in the air, I have my kill clip sidearm. What this really benefits is triggering kill clip faster in between kills. So now that they're procced up, I can go 1-2-3, get a faster reload than before. 1-2-3.
Yeah. Middle Tree Night Stalker.
Good.
Thank fucking God.
Very few things could have killed it. Vorpal Weapon Sniper is cool, but team shooting it would be a lot better. Something that has, increased mobility and stealth mechanic and wall hacks needs to be a little bit more weaker. It needs to be a risk reward mechanic.
Yeah.
Same thing with guns like Gunslinger. I can one shot everyone in this room, but if they so much as scratch my arm, I die. The same thing needs to apply.
Warlocks. Bring out your dad. We can't fight supers anymore.
They are Warlocks have, and well, not all Warlocks are dead, but specifically the Shadebinder.
Shadebinder's dead, except in PvE.
That's fine. There's certain subclasses I think are designed more for PvE than PvP, and
I don't think Shadebinder was one of them. I think it was meant to shut down supers, and too many Titans and Hunters started bitching about getting frozen.
I blame the Titans. I was fine with it.
You do know that the majority of the player base are Hunters, right? I put this firmly on your class's head.
My class's head. I don't associate with them. I literally just run around with jesters. Okay, I am tomfoolery of the finest. Just don't associate me with those heathens that run around with stompies banging their heads on the wall. I guarantee you, the more time you spend your head bashing your head on the ceilings of maps, you lose brain cells.
Yeah, the more times you hit the skybox, the less you learn.
Now the big thing here is Top Tree Dawn, and we mentioned this in the very beginning. We had a slight disagreement on He Rises versus it being dead or not. Is it dead? I mean, there's a lot of potential here for an interesting class, like a team dynamic. And as you know, I'm all about team
but
dynamics.
like I said, Middle Tree Voidwalker.
Yes, Middle Tree Voidwalker will be a lot stronger, but hear me out. You have a Gestures Night Stalker take the radar. Then he throws us an invis pellet onto his teammate. Teammate goes invisible. Teammate goes in the sky. So now when they get the radar
They're
back,
glowing orange.
Yeah, you're glowing orange, but you're not getting the radar.
Fair enough.
And if you're off the map, if you know your angles, it's not gonna matter.
Yeah, no one really expects a glowing orange invisible person off the radar. I can see what you mean, but it's like,
It'll be hard to pull off.
yeah, it's much less utility than just running astrocyte middle
Well, there's
tree.
also Wings of Sacred Dawn, which makes it even more obvious.
Yeah,
Um,
but then you also get rid of your sun bracers, which is your
Bread and
infinite.
butter.
Yeah.
Well, and this kind of will lead us into both middle tree and bottom tree. Um, I think Dawnblade's new identity is let me take the off angle, not the Russian shotgun, which is good. That's the identity I hope it took.
Well, top tree is that. Bottom tree is I will burn everything in my wake. You cannot stop me.
You want to jump to bottom tree and then get back to middle tree for a second?
I mean,
Because
we already really talked about middle tree's big nerf of you need
yeah,
resilience now,
resilience.
dummy.
Well, the one last thing they also mentioned is the players in sidewall are immune to stasis freeze and slow. Great, but the bow sword cannot be frozen and shattered by stasis. So it's I can be saved unless and
Also,
it's
you get more DR,
yeah.
so that's good. But yeah, bottom tree. Bottom tree is high.
Wait. Increased damage resistance versus buff versus enemy player. Wow.
Yeah,
That means I can no longer take my 90 RPM sniper and dome
and
him
dome
anymore.
someone. Yeah, no.
That's upsetting.
But bottom tree has Shadow Dive now.
Wait. Yeah, bottom tree does have Shatter Dive, but the one thing I want to point out here is Bungie's indirectly nerfing snipers.
Yeah,
That sucks.
yeah. And then Igniting Touch. Hi, Bernie, everything dies.
Now
Because,
put that with the exotic gauntlets for poison.
no, put that with Dawn Chorus.
Don Chorus does what
It
again?
increases your burn damage. And it also applies a debuff to burning enemies.
See, another when I was talking to some of the scrimmers, what they were doing is they're pairing the what's it called? The sky vest. I forgot what I called it. Celestial,
S-
not celestial.
uh,
Phoenix, not Phoenix Cradle. Jeez, I'm losing my mind here.
Wings the
Wings of
Sacred.
Sacred Dawn.
Yeah.
They were pairing Wings of Sacred Dawn with Phoenix Dive. So even if they took damage in the sky, they could actually Shatter Dive down into a healthy spot and get their health back.
I mean, that's one way to do it, but I'm thinking, if I can maximize my DPS, no one can kill me anyway.
This is very true. And you can even use Igniting Touch with not Karnstein's. The Ankara's Grasp.
Yeah, but
Maximizing damage, of course, that's the big hitter here.
Dawn Chorus is gonna be very good because it also buffs your super with that.
Ooh.
But here's the thing: Igniting Touch is now Bloom but solar. You smack something, they explode. If that explosion kills any enemies, they also go boom.
Curse law. Curse Thrall Gober. Because they'll already explode anyways.
Military Stormcaller, poor.
Uh,
They no
yeah.
longer go to walls, thank God.
Rip all Warlock mains.
Hey,
Rip the Warlock mains that use Geomags.
I'm
Could not be me.
I'm fine with this. I am totally fine with this because
It needed to happen. It needed to happen.
even I, Warlock main since D1 beta, have absolutely hated getting wall banged by a Warlock halfway across the map and not even looking at me.
Yeah. I can imagine. It's just not a.
Like, they just do a MS Paint scribble and destroy everything in the room.
This thing scribble. Well said. Another thing is now, like, there's places in Ned Cliffs or Jabs that I can play around that won't kill me.
Yeah. Bottom Tree Stormcaller, or as I would like to say, my new main.
Everyone's new main apparently, because it makes me sad. How we have fallen.
Landfall. Now fires 5 arc ground projectiles on cast. You want a room nuke?
See, I'm interested in the Arc Soul changes.
I'm fine with the Arc Soul changes, but Landfall with Storm Dancer's Brace, the chest plate, that ups your Stormcaller damage by how many kills you get, and then refunds your super by 50% depending on how many kills you get. Landfall counts as Storm Trance kills. You get enough Landfall kills, right off the bat, your Storm Trance is doing double damage.
Big. It's a big deal.
Lord Ticklefingers will now be able to burn anything in its sight.
Yeah.
Like, supers, dead. Titan Bubbles, maybe dead.
Yeah, and that's I'd say that's a good thing.
Yeah. And then, I am going to say this, Middle Tree Voidwalker will be the most played Warlock subclass this season. Simply because of one exotic. And its name is Astrocyte Verse.
Yeah.
They nerf Top Tree Dawn, and then they give Nova Warp a movement buff.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they everything plays out with this. 'Cause this really just seems like another game of cat and mouse with the balancing.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on to 8.19?
Yeah.
All right, let's chug it all on.
Weapon tuning. Oh, okay. Let's get some definitional terms. Thank goodness we're already here.
Yep, we are pretty here. I did some math earlier on the shotgun stuff with you earlier.
Yeah. We finally get some concrete definitions.
Great.
We were using Fall Off Min and Fall Off Max in these TWABs, but now we're going to be using Damage Fall Off Start and Fall Off End, which means no longer do we have to calculate things.
Which is great. I mean, I like calculating it, but yeah, it makes it easier for us.
They will now give us the meters.
Meters.
Now, projectiles. They've used a bunch of things to describe these, but now we're going to...
Shot weapon.
Yeah. Hit scan. It's a hit scan. I can test that fully drawn bows are hit scan. They're not. They're projectile weapons. They just move very, very quickly.
Well, if Bungie says that they convert it to a projectile, I'm pretty sure they probably have some method of doing that.
Yeah.
From a programming standpoint. Now, do they still function similar to projectiles? Probably.
You can. They have velocity. That's why impulse amplifier is on them. It's just that at most distances, that velocity is less than 0.1 second. Now, non-hit scan projectiles with travel time, having physics bounces or explosive damage, rocket launchers, grenades, stuff like that. Jotun, goddamn toaster.
Yeah, Jotun is always the toaster. But
Okay. Here comes the big old FU. Well, actually, it's not FU. It's hallelujah. Fallout no longer has to tear his hair out.
Oh yeah, the shotgun angles, or shotgun spread.
we now have an actual idea of how pellets are distributed.
Yeah, it's great.
Now we can actually talk about how big those wedges are compared to other shotguns.
Yeah, hopefully we actually get
Some maps of like wedges on shotguns after
yeah,
you shoot it like 1,500 times.
because like I mean I can draw one out kind of, but even then, like how I pictured it was, you have your I'll send you a screen cap
I thought they
of
were all mini cones.
see, yeah, but, like then they sent us like the depictions of inner cone, outer cone, and whatnot.
Yeah, I thought they were mini cones from that. Apparently
Yeah,
not. They're wedges of RNG zones, which is, yeah, fine.
but like you have like your center.
Yeah, you have.
Um,
There's gonna always be one pellet directly where you point,
yep, and then there's like 4 in the inner,
and then
7 in the outer,
yeah,
and that's a lot because if you were to go spot on with with some of these spreads, like you can have a spread, and I'll send you another picture of what I pictured. This kind of looks like a standard shotgun spread right here, where you have the one, and obviously it's not always lined up perfectly. Sometimes these rotate differently based off that.
the
Um,
wedges.
yeah,
We
the
now
wedges.
have wedges and cones.
I like my cones. I hate my wedges.
Mm. Um,
Um, Overall, this does give some sort of clarification and insight onto how shotguns are looked at, and not really a bad thing at all, if I'm being honest. Do shotguns are in a much better space than they are now, and having these definition of terms does clarify how they change things going in. Especially with like the slide, where like now we know they set it like a 4.25 for their angle with the slide. It goes up to it goes up to 4.88, so almost 5 degrees, which we know that's massive. Um, and in some cases, having a wide cone angle is good, but for shotguns, you want it tight.
yeah.
Um, there's a difference between the aim assist cone and accuracy cone. In this case, well, you want it narrow to get all your pellets in the center. Um, and then there's like the stasis PvP kinetic stuff, which is a big deal. I
It's
think
basically just top slot darkness elements, middle slot light
light
elements,
weapons.
bottom
Yeah,
slot everything.
yeah, it's interesting that they're starting to do that. And the stasis, what's it called? The stasis perks that they're going to be coming out with. I'm interested to see what they are, but I'm not so.
I am extremely hesitant to see what abomination they think is a balanced perk for stasis.
Yeah, and like, I thought, oh, they're gonna have stasis shields. Nope.
No.
And like that's not good.
I wish there were stasis shields. At least. And
Well, on one hand, now we have ways to deal more damage to stasis supers with primary ammo.
yeah, but eh. Quick swap glitch is dead. Long live new quick swap glitch that's probably gonna be figured out.
If it
Um,
ever comes out. I mean, there's ways to deal with Dragon Shadow, Ophidian aspects,
yeah,
dexterity mods, handling.
yeah.
There's
Infinite primary ammo. Hooray.
Long Live the King, aka Devil's Ruin.
Um, Long live the Mythoclast, as we learn later on
Oh
in
yeah,
this
Just King
TWAB.
just posted a video on that.
I'm not gonna. I need a Mythoclast.
You don't have it yet?
I do not. I need one.
Oh man, we gotta run some vlog later.
Um, Drop mag is the minus magazine size now. what does that matter? You have infinite fucking ammo.
Yeah.
Compact arrow shafts, upsize is handling. That's gonna be pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be talking about Sweet Business and Fighting Lion later. I will be
Yep.
talking about Sweet Business in an extensive amount a bit later.
Oh god, Axiom Warrig?
Axiom Warwick, Infinite Fire, Rally Barricade with the Catalyst. You will not get flinched, and everything in front of you is dead meat.
Oh no. God, sniper rifles are dead next season. Imagine just
Adding new
sitting behind that
perks.
thing.
Archetypes. Breach grenade launchers are getting a blast radius reduction. Thank God.
Yeah.
Reduce.
Now one of the changes is 220 to 200. Now we don't know how impactful this is. We just know that high resilience guardians will
10
generally
res
live.
will survive.
10 res will survive.
And then a PvE damage buff, which is pretty good. Wither Horde's unaffected because Wither Horde is a taken abomination that should not exist. I love the gun. It's crime
fantastically designed.
It's a crime against nature lore-wise.
Really?
It literally shoots taken rifts. That's a bad thing.
And yep, we can't have a Malfeasance do something cool. We can't have it do, makes me sad. Although when Malfeasance was introduced, it was really good, so I can't complain.
Machine gun buff, Thunderlord, thank goodness. Scout rifles and hand cannons are finally getting buffed after they were nerfed into the ground back in D2 Year 1.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, fusion rifles.
I'll let you handle this one.
Look at how they massacred my boy. They also completely redid his face and made all of them amazing. So, they wanted to think about going back to D1 with travel time. Then they realized, yeah, that was kind of shit, so let's not do that. Burst rate of fire, that would require a lot of work on the back end, and Bungie is not up for it. They increased everyone's PvE damage by 15%. All of them now have that buff.
Yeah, overall, I think
a good buff. I am wondering, Vex Mythoclast is a fusion rifle.
Right, but they down below they mentioned the changes. They made it function like a linear fusion.
It's still classified as a fusion rifle.
Yep.
It got a 40% PvE bonus.
On top of another bonus that it gets individually.
But the 40% is its individual thing. I'm wondering, is this 15% affecting it?
Good point.
Because if it does, that is a 55% or more PvE damage bonus.
Big deal.
To Mythoclast.
Now another thing I want to point out is, I made the joke earlier, Devil, long live the King, Devil's Ruin. We have fusion rifles now that can contest Devils, that can contest Mythos, because their ability to close, A, reduce charge time, B, close the gap. This TWAB, not TWAB, but this sandbox is gonna have such a big shift. It's hard for most of us to make predictions on what it will be.
I have absolutely zero clue if high impacts will be useful or not. I have absolutely zero clue.
Yeah, it's not even just the high impacts. I'm looking at the precision adaptives.
Well, precisions and adaptives are largely unchanged.
Right.
They're gonna be as good as they were before, which is Plug 1 was the best PvP fusion in
It
the
still will
game.
be. I
It
guarantee it.
maybe what's the rapid fire that's
There's the trinary system and Cartesian
coordinate?
co coordinate. Yeah, Cartesian
Yeah,
coordinate.
that one. Um, there's also an adaptive, the Corsair one from
Yep,
Last Wish
last week.
that can run Kill Clip and Rampage.
Yep, I think I have one with Kill Clip Rampage.
But yeah, that's gonna be a bit busted. Um, but I'm one the most Glacioclasm got a nerf. I'm
Oh,
just
sorry, I have Kill Clip High Impact Reserves.
uh, well, it doesn't matter. Uh, it's gonna be decent anyway.
Yeah,
Glacioclasm and many other high impacts got a nerf simply because of how people were using them.
hmm it's a big playstyle shift, and you have to really think a whole second ahead.
Yeah.
It definitely changes the pace of the game, and that's not even a problem. Because if you look at the entire sandbox at large, it is just a pace changer.
Now,
Um,
precision adapt is largely unchanged. Rapid fires.
Big change.
7 to 9? And you reduce the charge time as well.
Yep.
The apes will be salty.
Let them be. I mean, at the end of the day, a sandbox is supposed to be like rock, paper, scissors, shoot, where not one thing beats everything, but one thing has a counter, but that thing also has a counter. And when you go into this rabbit hole of I should only be able to use this, this, and this, you're pigeonholing yourself into a bad spot. You should
Okay.
understand what your gun is capable of doing and what it counters and what it gets countered by, and that's what makes a good player compared to a great player.
Okay, there's a lot of fuddling around with charge time and liquid coils and accelerated coils and adept charge time mods and the masterwork. I'm just gonna say this: until we get actual numbers, the it's a lot of word salad that we don't actually know how it's gonna work out.
Right.
They're just telling us this is the reason behind what you will feel come tomorrow.
Mhm.
We we don't know how these will feel. We just know that accelerated coils looks like it got actually no backup plan looks like it got a decent buff because it reduced the damage scalar it reduced the damage reduction.
Mhm.
Basically it increased the damage for a backup plan shot. And now it's just UI changes. And they said, yeah, this is a massive change, so we'll keep you posted.
Mhm.
Anarchy is dead. Well, it's not dead, it's just no longer completely, absolutely fucking busted.
Right. Fighting Lion.
I'm not
Died.
gonna. Xenophage, meh.
There's a lot of things that could be said about Xenophage. Did it need to change? Probably not.
Meh.
I
It's
mean, it's basically just an overblown version of Ariana's Vow.
Fighting Lion, Infinite, same changes as the other Breach launchers. Reduce the base reload stat to 0. Okay.
Mhm.
I don't reload Lion anyway.
You don't really have to either.
Now increases the reload speed back to its previous max level when you hit multiple people.
Great PvE, not so much for PvP unless they're clustered.
Yeah, which is fine if you get multiple picks. You can now throw another one out faster.
Mhm.
So it feels like, oh yeah, we don't want you just spamming nades, but we don't want to just hard nerf it.
Mm-hmm.
The Vex Mythoclast.
That's gonna be an interesting one.
The range stat has increased to be near best in class for all high impact auto rifles. Now, those of you that don't know, high impact auto rifles are insane.
Yeah, they are. There's actually the one Pull Perfect, really good.
Blue Perfect is great. I had a max range Gallon's right hand. I was
that's another one.
I was outranging pulse rifles.
Yeah, Dynamics Way, Rangefinder, Range Masterwork, High Cal with extended barrel.
Yeah, it's not funny. So when they said they buffed its range to be near best in class, people need to let that sink in. Vex
and it's also a 390.
Can now hit at 34 meters comfortably.
Well, that we got to take into fact zoom because Galaran is 36 zoom, not 36, 16 zoom, whereas Vex is 15 zoom.
Okay, doesn't. I will pull up my math.
No, I'm just saying that it'll be, between 29 to 34, depending on how far they tweak it.
Yeah, increase the stability stat. They didn't say how much.
A little worrisome with how much they've changed it. If they underdo it, if they overdo it, I'd be very pleased because it kind of needs it to feel exotic.
Rework the catalyst to grant stability and damage after a kill. It now has Zen Moment and Rampage.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have Zen Moment. Zen Moment's weird, but it has a stability granting perk.
You could call it on hit Dynamics Way.
Yeah. Well, on kill Dynamics Way. So kind of like tunnel vision or heating up, but
more like heating up without the it'd be more like heating up
without the accuracy bonus. Increase rate of fire from 360 to 390. Again, people don't know how insane that is. That just lowers the TTK.
Yeah.
Like, that just straight up lowers it.
Vex in PvP and PvE, because it's going to be Season of the Voop, jokingly. It'll be insane. I wish they did this sooner. During,
120 season?
Not even the 120 season, but when Volta Glass was initially released.
They said we didn't want to ship a dominant weapon that had like less than 1% ownership.
Oh, I see.
Like, that's the first thing they said when they were addressing this buff.
Okay, that makes sense.
Reduces the linear fusion rifle charge time from 820 to 533, same as others. Thank God. But that also means you now have an infinite ammo linear fusion rifle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be decent for DPS on top of it. And then it's no longer loses overcharged stacks on stow, which is a pretty good quality of life. My boy, Merciless. Okay. So, when you fire Merciless and you don't kill the thing, it gets a faster charge time.
Right.
That, due to how charge time works, lowers your damage.
Mm-hmm.
Bungie, being the Omega brains that they are, decided to reduce that damage penalty by 40%. Oh,
jeez.
If it gets to a
maximum
to a precision frame, it will be doing more damage than that precision frame. If it gets
Well,
to an
this
adaptive
this also
frame,
goes
it does
back
more
into
damage than that adaptive frame.
what they've said about charge time on the fusion rifle rework. They don't want reduced charge time to feel like a death sentence to damage.
But here's the thing. Do we know that this charge time, will it change the bolt number?
No, it shouldn't, because
So it
the base
stays at 5.
it should stay at 5.
So theoretically, this thing will be hitting like a truck once you get it ramped up.
Yeah.
The
I will
toaster.
say that the biggest change in this entire patch, I'm gonna be real with you, is Yoan. We all know Yoan is gonna be really OP. It's gonna be great. Honestly, make Yoan great again. They honestly hit the mark with it. And if you can't tell, I'm being sarcastic.
The toaster got basically no changes. We're gonna skip the toaster.
Nah, man, you gonna do my toaster mains dirty like that? I see how it is.
0.04 seconds faster.
There you go. That's the big change here.
Okay, so now let's go to the other fusion rifle.
Oh no, we're just gonna avoid that. That's Bastion. We don't really care about that. Nothing to see there. No one likes Bastion. Not even the people that use Bastion like Bastion.
I fucking loved Bastion.
Nerf Bastion, because I want to be Winston.
Everyone somehow miraculously came to the agreement of, hey, this gun is absolutely fucking broken.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not use it.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow Bungie didn't get the memo. Until now.
Yeah, it's problematic.
Sweet business.
Yeah, I'll let you handle this one. You said you wanted to cover this.
Okay. Let me give you a situation. You have two people. One Titan, one Warlock. That Warlock is running the Stag. That Warlock is running an Empowering Rift with Dark Souls. The Titan is running Actium Lorwig, Max Resilience, and a Rally Barricade.
Mm-hmm.
You pop your Rally Barricade. You now have minus 50 flinch and 10% range. The Warlock pops the Empowering Rift with Dark Souls. You now have a 20% damage buff and a 25% damage resistance with your Arc Buddies that now shoot faster thanks to the buff. You had the Sweet Business Catalyst, so when you aim down sights you even get less flinch. You now spin up that Sweet Business to 900 RPM, doing 25 per bullet to the head. You now sit there for the next 15 seconds firing constantly because you now have infinite reserves and Actium Warwig refunds ammo more faster than you can shoot. You are now a placeable turret that destroys anything in front of you. Nothing will exit the wall of bullets that you put on. It is an M2 Browning, and the people that are in front of you are walking up Normandy Beach. Actually, no, it's an M60, because that was the Nazi one. It is an M60, and you are walking up Normandy Beach. anything in front of you turns into a thin red mist.
Hmm.
And then, once the Rally Barricade and Empowering Rift are done, you can now walk around with your infinite shooting sweet business with your Arc Buddy and do it all over again.
It gets insane.
Now imagine 6 Bubble Titans with sweet business and Actium Rorig. Have you ever seen a castle inside Crucible?
A castle inside Crucible? I mean,
That
fortress.
is what 6 bubbles with infinite firing machine guns will be. You do not go to the castle to lace with a rifle to take it over. You get siege equipment. You will have to use your supers, or else you will die. But good luck getting near it. Now, the perks of firing line, they're bringing it back, that's good. They're nerfing it a little bit. Kill Clip, Rampage, and Adrenaline Chunky now inflict explosive damage. Thank goodness. Kill Clip on a rocket launcher actually does something now. VFX changes. Near future, Witch Queen things. Small adjustments, the like. Linear fusion rifles and caster frames are still not where we want them to be.
Yeah, that'll be interesting changes coming in the future.
Looking at Herbalists, Soros, Claresthesia, Malfeasance, talking about how spamming high rate of fire semi-autos are kind of
benefits
annoying.
of scouts and sidearms.
360 sidearms, yeah. Witch Queen Beyond, legendary weapons have more identity. Okay. Anyone watching now? If you don't want to hear spoilers, tune out. Because this paragraph of we've talked previously about wanting legendary weapons to have more identity based on their source and expect to ship a new system for this in or close to the Witch Queen. We have what that system is.
Well, we have
We have one of the systems.
Yeah, it's not confirmed. These are just some stuff that was.
It's highly accurate, though.
Yeah.
That's
A little depressing, though, to say the least.
Yeah, it's highly accurate, like scarily accurate. So we are going to get into the spoilers in 3, 2, 1. One of those systems is weapon crafting.
Oh yes, thank God. I've been wanting this for years. Like you've seen my old essays.
God.
If I'm able to actually craft the perfect sidearm for me, or the perfect sniper, or whatever it is.
Another one of those things is we are getting a new melee archetype.
Oh yeah, the
in the form of a spear.
Oh. I was not expecting that.
Did you not see the
Oh, the picture leak? Yeah.
Yeah. There's a spear there.
I was mainly looking at the document you sent over.
Oh yeah, the document has a lot more shit.
Wasn't there like a cease and desist for spoilers?
Yep. They cease and desisted the Reddit thread, thus confirming that yeah, this is legit.
Let's is this a good idea? He's like, hey, let's go talk about leaks.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, we can continue with it. I mean, if you want, I'm just cracking a joke about it.
Yeah, I'm continuing.
All right.
So we get a spear. We're gonna get a poster child exotic for the Witch Queen. There's gonna be a Witch Queen special edition that includes every single paid expansion under the sun, just like the Taken King. It's gonna revolve around Savathun's throne world. Savathun has a fucking ghost, and there are a light-based hive.
Yeah.
Let that all sink in. And now we're gonna deal with the rest of this shit.
Yep.
There's one new free roam destination. That's the Throne World.
Yep.
There's
Big.
apparently 21 instances. 14 of those are public or private. 3 of those are lost sectors, and 4 of those are raid instances. So the raid is going to take place in Sav's Throne World. There's going to be a new NPC vendor inside that Throne World. Returning destination. Mars and Hive Ship. Hive Ship means Dreadnought. The Dreadnought's coming back.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting one.
And then 2 new Europa bubbles. Or 1 to 2 new Europa bubbles.
Bubbles? Like areas
instances. Basically load zones.
Okay.
They call them bubbles because it's basically one bubble loading into the next. This is all internal speak, mind you.
Yeah.
Campaign activity. 2 gold activities. Haymakers. So we now know what they're really good developed missions are purposely made that way, and they're called gold levels. 3 silver levels. So those will be the decent missions. 3 bronze, like D2 Adventures. So we know what bronze levels are and what to expect from them. And then there's post-campaign pursuits. We don't know exactly what that is. They just say post-campaign pursuits.
It's just your gold boss, a new silver boss, a new silver campaign boss.
Those are gold raid boss, silver raid boss. So there's gonna be there's gonna be one really cool raid boss, and then one sort of cool raid boss.
Yeah, and then there's like I'm looking at the picture now. It's all really nice.
There's one new silver campaign boss, so there's gonna be a big bad at the end of the campaign that we get to kill. BAB support for scenario, other bosses. I don't know what that means. That's too much internal lingo for me to parse it. Combatants, Hive, Lucent Brood, Ghosts, 3 new enemy types, and we know what those enemy types are. There are going to be Hive equivalents of Titans, Warlocks, and Hunters. They will have full sweeps of the subclasses. Knights will have Titan aspects, basically. Wizards, I think, will have Warlock, and I think Acolytes are the ones that are Hunters. They now have Ghosts. So if you do not kill the ghosts, they will probably respawn.
See, but that begs the question: if they're now part of the Traveler, aren't we now technically killing entities of the Traveler?
Well, they're part of the light. So within the last, from Shadowkeep onwards, it's been more and more suggested that the light and the dark are more like electromagnetism and gravity and stuff like that. They're fundamental forces of the universe, and applying morality to them is kind of stupid. They'll choose whatever keeps them alive, basically. The winner is just upfront with this. The gardener has the speaker to say, oh yeah, we like sacrifice, things like that. We get ritual content, we get post-campaign or weekly ritual loop, so it's gonna be kind of like the Dreaming City. The Scornucopia. I don't know what that is, but it sounds cool. We get 2 new strikes, one in the campaign, one in the post-campaign. Those will be in the playlist. We get 2 new exotic quests for... This is all Witch Queen stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We get 1 new raid with an exotic weapon. Weapon crafting will only be available... Well, will be more available to people that buy the Witch Queen.
Well, I mean, most of us will buy the Witch Queen, especially with one leak that detailed a potential new subclass.
We'll get on to that. I'm just going through the image things. I haven't even
Yep.
gotten onto the how big is this website?
Oh, it was Meg.
It's massive. Okay.
I think we should do that for another video. We could probably...
because we're on we're hitting 2 hours, but I'm
Yeah,
just
we're about to.
I'm just gonna go through the image things. So raids, weapon crafting, major characters and narrative content, Savathun, Ghost, Ikora, Hive Ghost Vendor. Hive Ghost Vendor.
That's interesting.
So that's the NPC vendor inside Savathun's Throne World. Minor characters: The Witness, Eris, Savathun's Ghost, Mara. People who don't know who the Witness is, the Witness is basically the anti-traveler. It is, if you play Presage, you hear Kydal and Savathun talk. Yeah, yes, I know she's in the flesh suit of Osiris, but it's Kydal and Savathun talking about what Callus was doing on the
ship.
What's I'm forgetting its name.
I don't remember the name.
I'm forgetting the name as well. But anyway, what Callus was doing was he was trying to talk to the entity closest to the darkness, the consciousness, as such. That is the Witness. We get 4 new Lord books, which consist of 30 Lord tabs. Lord tabs are weapon tabs. So, we get... It seems like we get 20 new, from, cutscene? Oh, no, 5 new in-game cinematics, 4 CGI cinematics, 2 DSS? I don't know what those DSS are, but 16 minutes worth of straight up video. And then VP vignettes and memory vignettes. Those are like animated shit. Like 2D animation versus 3D animation. So that's for Witch Queen. Now, we need to talk about Season 15 and a half. You ever want to play Halo inside your Destiny game?
That'd be great.
Yeah, Destiny 2 is going to launch on the Epic Games Store alongside a 30th anniversary pack. which has 2 secret missions that are Halo themed, a 30% off Eververse sale, as well as making the Forsaken campaign free to everyone. A new dungeon, which has armor styled compared to Thorn. It's gonna have Ias, Luna, Matador, and a few other D1 weapons in there, and 4 Halo weapons inside the dungeon. That dungeon is on a Halo ring.
Interesting that they did have thorn styled armor and on a Halo styled
Well,
environment.
you get 4 Halo weapons as well.
Okay.
Dollar
Horn.
Yeah, G Horn's back.
With random rolls.
And the energy pistol from Halo is also an exotic. They're both likely quests. There's
Crucible.
Hey, everyone who wants only gunplay, just play hardware. There's gonna be no abilities, only shooting.
I can't wait to see how that plays out.
Yeah, you'll be begging to throw grenades soon enough. 4 new and returning Crucible maps. Now, there's a Halo armor set.
I like it.
Spartan style for Titans. Goddamn Titans, why do you get the Mjolnir? ODST inspired for Hunter, which is pretty decent. Arbiter inspired for the Warlock. I get elite armor for the Warlock. And then we get a Marathon armor set for each class. And then the new Season Pass set will be Oni themed. Oni being the Office of Naval Intelligence in Halo. Not Oni as in the yokai of Japanese mythology. Now, there's a very big document other than the image thing. Oh, this image leak also pre-confirmed Savathun's look, so yeah, we know this is legit. Now, it's 2 hours. I'm gonna cut it off here.
We'll definitely continue this more than likely tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be probably after the Witch Queen
Yep, that'll be a big one.
Because that way we can confirm or deny certain things. Cough, cough, weapon crafting, cough, cough.
Oh, dude, if weapon crafting comes true, you already know what I'm doing.
Oh, we know it's gonna come true, but they have to either say they either have to completely bitch out and not talk about weapon crafting just because of the leaks, or they have to confirm the leaks some more and talk about one of the biggest draws to buying the Witch Queen out of all.
They could honestly do a few bait and switches eventually. How they have it set up.
I mean, yeah. Like, we have stuff for Lightfall inside this, which is obviously subject to change.
Oh, yeah. But hopefully it does.
Yeah, hopefully it does. Because some of the story shit inside the document is fucking stupid. But it's, I doubt they can change much about the Witch Queen stuff. And I know for sure they can't change the stuff about, like, the 30th anniversary, because that's likely a cross-promotion.
Yep, for Halo Infinite and
Xbox Game Pass, which they're gonna be a part of very soon. Yeah.
Yep. So, we'll come back tomorrow with the updated stuff.
Talking about the Witch Queen thing, and also the document leak. That way we'll have everything done.
Yep, and then from there we'll move on to more traditional styled hour-long segments of Sandbox and
Random,
hopefully
random
random.
things like we can talk about anime. We can well, you can't talk about anime, but I can talk about anime
Oh
with
yeah,
other
you can do that all
people.
day long.
Um,
Uh,
I can. We can talk about other games. We can talk about Sandbox.
Halo,
We can talk about Infinite Halo. Anything that we want.
pretty
But
much. That's what this whole thing is about.
yeah. Um, but this
Probably do some PvP commentaries.
if PvP doesn't die.
Oh, and PvP doesn't die next Sandbox.
Yeah.
I don't think it will.
How many sweat lords are just gonna play hardware?
Not many.
Yeah, they're too used to jumping, aren't they?
Listen, there's two types of sweat lords. There's those that I believe will give hardware a try, but a lot of people will just claim movement skill gap and shrug it off. It's like, okay, you do you, Buckaroo.
Rift's coming back. That's not
Yeah,
even a leak. That's Bungie already said
I already
Rift's
said that.
coming back. So I can't wait for Rift to come back.
Well, I'm excited for Rift to come back.
Actual objective-based gameplay,
Yep, let's go.
but
We'll talk definitely more about it tomorrow when they do the whole VOD.
yeah, we also need to talk about the Halo weapons because while the image don't say much, the document certainly does.
Hmm.
But anyway, those of you that did not tune out, congratulations, you've been spoiled on the Witch Queen. You'll get spoiled even more tomorrow
By Bungie.
by a, well, no, by the leaks as well.
That as well. We'll
um,
definitely get some more information tomorrow.
yeah, we'll get some information tomorrow, but I doubt they'll go into as in depth as the story leaks that we have.
Described, yeah.
Yeah, because it basically lays out the entire plot up until
Hmm.
Lightfall.
Right.
Not in like detailed overtures, but we know the gist.
Hmm.
And some of it's really, really stupid.
Yep.
But anyway, it's been 2 hours and
Hours.
8 minutes.
Yep. Quite a night.
Yeah. And in stream.
All right.